Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be talking about my reading plans and possibilities for the month of May. The first order of business for me is going to be to complete my reading for the quarterfinals in fiction for the BookTube prize. At this point, I have 1.5 novels left to go in this judging round, so I'm in pretty good shape. And I'll be talking about the 6 books that I read in this round when the judging is complete. The next event that I would like to participate in May is mental health awareness, which is a reading event that is being hosted by Marilyn Maya Mendoza and by Kim at Middle of the Book March. The general theme this year is self-care, and there aren't specific prompts. So I'm right now considering 3 different books in the area of mental health and that would encourage mental health awareness. The first book that I'm considering is Redfield Jamison's newest book, Fires in the Dark, Healing the Unquiet Mind. I read her first, it wasn't her first book. I read an earlier book of hers called The Unquiet Mind, which was actually a memoir about her own experiences in dealing with bipolar disorder. This new book, which came out last year, is described as, quote, an expansive cultural history of the treatment and healing of mental suffering. She explores in this volume what makes a great healer and the role of the imagination and memory in regenerating the mind. She looks at trauma from the battlefields of the 20th century, and she also examines grief, depression, and again, her own experience with bipolar disorder. To demonstrate how remarkable psychotherapy and other treatments can be when done well. She also looks at the ancient and modern importance of religion, ritual, and myth in healing the mind. So this sounds like a really good possibility. I like her work, and I think this one is up there. Another book that I'm considering is The Best Minds, a story of friendship, madness, and the tragedy of good intentions by Jonathan Rosen. This is also a book that came out last year. In this book, Rosen explores the forces that led his childhood best friend, Michael Lauder, that led him from a life of brilliant promise to a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia, and ultimately to the forensic psychiatric hospital where he has lived since he killed the woman that he loved. This book, from what I understand, explores the ways in which we understand and fail to understand mental illness. It was a New York Times best book of 2023. I really want to read this one. I just have to see if it's going to be a good book for me to read, and if it's going to be a good book for me to read right now. I know it is one that I will eventually read. So I'm going to give it a shot, but I'm not sure if it's one that I'm going to be able to complete at this time. Another book that I'm considering for mental health May is a book that's been around for about 5 years. Many of you probably know this already. This is Lori Gottlieb's Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. I think this is from 2019. I've had this book hanging around my house for, I think, for almost since it came out. And it's one that I've been meaning to read, and this might be the time to read it. It is actually a therapist's memoir about how she experiences a terrible loss that sends her back into therapy, and she begins to explore other terrible losses that preceded the loss that precipitates her going back into therapy. And we're invited into her world as both therapist and as patient. I have heard only wonderful things about this book, so this might be the time to read this one. So those are the three that I'm considering for Mental Health May, and if I can read one of them this month, this coming month, that will be a good thing. Next, my real life book group has read Percival Everett's James, and we will be meeting next week to discuss this. So while I read this in April, when it first came out, this is a book that I'll be talking about here after my book group discusses it next week. And this is, certainly for many people, this was a most anticipated book this year. Next, I have been, and we all have been, seeing a lot of videos and hearing a lot about horror mayhem. So I'm basically totally a chicken, and I'm terrified to read horror. But I also really like the people who are really into this event and who are hosting this event, and I want to support them, and I want to participate myself to the degree that I am able to. I don't want to be kept up at night, unable to sleep, because I'm so terrified because of things that I've read, and I'm not going to try to do all 4 prompts, the prompts for each week. I started looking for books for each of the prompts, and I got myself so freaked out, I decided that that's not going to be a good thing for me, and I'm not going to work my way through the bingo card either, though I have a copy of it and I love the prompts that are on it. I know that I'm not going to be able to do that, but I am going to read some horror books and maybe some short stories as well. The magnificent MJ at Reading This Life recommended a book to me that seems like it might be a cross between cozy horror, if there's such a thing, and Southern Gothic. And the book that she recommended is, here we go. The book that MJ recommended is T. Kingfisher's A House with Good Bones. And MJ said to me that it won't keep me up at night, and she said it will even make you laugh. She said it's even funny in places. I implicitly trust MJ, so I bought the book on her recommendation. And everything that I've read about it on the back and in reviews that I read online sound like it's make it sound like it's going to be fun. Fun horror I can do. I also decided that I'm going to reread Stephen King's first novel ever, Carrie. Because this year, Carrie is experiencing its 50th anniversary. And I actually read Carrie 50 years ago when I was a teenager. And when I read it 50 years ago, it was a brand new book. So I know the story. I know what this is about. I've seen the movie, read the book. I know that I can handle this, and we'll see how revisiting it goes. 50 years later. I have certainly read old classics in Gothic horror. As an English major, I read The Monk, The Castle of Otranto. I read in college, in graduate school, and I taught Frankenstein and Dracula. I've read and taught a lot of Edgar Allan Poe. And I don't lose sleep over those works. But modern horror has pretty much escaped me, or I've escaped it. I don't know. But I'm going to dip my toe in this month to support my friends. Okay. I'm also going to continue reading banned books for the Read 24 in 2024 Banned Book Challenge created by MJ at Reading This Life. I have 10 books left in this 24 book challenge. I think I have 10 left. And among the possibilities that I'm considering are Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You by Jason Reynolds. Now, this book is it's described on its title page as a remix of the National Book Award winning book Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. This is Reynolds' YA adaptation of Kendi's book. And Reynolds' book, the YA adaptation, is currently banned in Florida and South Carolina. So that, I think, is a banned book that I would like to read this month. Last month, I had proposed to read another book by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Kiley, All American Boys, and I didn't get to it in April. So this is still on my list of possibilities of banned books. This one is currently banned in Florida, Michigan, Texas, and some places in New York. I still want to get to this one. And finally, another banned book that I'm considering is a Richard Wright novel that I actually have, I'm embarrassed to say, I have never read. I have not read Native Son. And this is on several, this is being banned in several communities in Florida and Pennsylvania. So this is another possibility. This is a book I should have read by this time. Okay. So I think those are all of my possibilities for May. I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't think this is unreasonable. Where I've given 3 choices. I'm not saying I'm going to be able to read all 3. they're possibilities. I'm not going to overdo it like I did in March and almost drove myself into the ground. So we'll see how it goes. This is my these are my tentative plans and my pile of possibilities. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.